All right, folks. I don't see anybody else moseying in. So if you'd like, well, first let me introduce myself. My name is Jessica Graham. I am the GSA program manager. I'm so excited to be with everyone today here for drama. As I was a drama student many, many moons ago through GSA. So it was a great time and we're so excited to talk about it today. We're excited to get to know you. So if you guys could drop in the chat who you are and what county you're from. We'll wait a couple minutes for y'all to do that. All right, got Mia from Rowan, Caroline from Rowan, Emery from Fayette, Maddie from Jefferson, Will from Jefferson, and we got Ayat from Fayette. If I mispronounced that, I apologize. Anybody else?
Nice.
Right. Well, we're so excited everyone is here. Let me just get this slideshow going here in a little bit. Again, my name is Jessica. I am the GSA program manager and a GSA drama alumni from many, many moons ago. Joining us today is our drama chair, Ellie Clark. We're so excited to have her here. She's also an adjudicator for GSA and the art form of drama. Ellie, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I am an alumni of Governor's School for the Arts, the drama program from the 90s. That's all I'll say. And I teach movement and acting at Governor's School for the Arts. And like Jessica said, I'm the chair of the program. And I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm originally from Kentucky. And in Atlanta, I teach with casting director Erica Arvold, Emmy nominated for Dope Sick, if anybody's seen it. And I run her educational component. So all classes, curriculum development for film and television actors and theater actors. And I also have a not-for-profit in Lexington called Voices Amplified. If anybody knows it, I'm co-founder of Voices Amplified with Vanessa Becker-Weig. And yeah, I do all the things. I'm auditioning, I'm an actor, I'm working with an agent here, auditioning for television and film and theaters. So that's it, that's everything.
Awesome, wonderful. Well, thank you for all that fun information. We appreciate it. So what we're about to, this journey that we're about to go on, I'll start us off with some GSA 101 information. It's kind of a highlight of our GSA 101 presentation. And then we'll go into the drama applicant guide and we'll dig deeper into that, not quite so deep, but deeper into it. There will be time for a Q&A at the end of today's presentation. So feel free to use the Q&A feature on Zoom to ask your questions. If you put them in the chat, hopefully I'll see them, but if I don't see them, please put them in the Q&A. If you're joining us on Zoom, you should also receive a survey at the end of today's session. The survey helps GSA assess how well we are recruiting, so please take a moment to fill it out and let us know how we can improve. All right, so just a little bit about GSA. If you aren't already aware, today's session is part of a larger series of virtual info sessions that GSA is hosting throughout the fall for applicants, parents, and educators. So we hope you take advantage of these amazing webinars. So we do have 2 more coming up, our GSA 101. These are much more lengthy than this presentation that I'm giving to you right now. So I highly suggest you sign up for them. We have 2 more options, November 14th and December 1st to sign up for those. And hopefully you are aware that our portal is open for to apply for GSA. The portal opened October 6th, and we also have those applicant guides. Those are released on our website. And we also have an application walkthrough video for those of you who would like a better visual interpretation of everything. And then we also have other art form specific webinars that are occurring. So we have upcoming next, let me look at my list. We have architecture and design tomorrow, and we also have visual art and film and photography. So if you are applying for another art form and you'd like to view one of those webinars, we also have that on our YouTube channel, or you can sign up for those dates. And before we do that, I would like to release a poll. I'm gonna just kind of get an idea of who we're talking to and what you guys are interested in. So I'm going to start the poll right now. So what best describes you? Select all that apply. And then talk about what GSA art forms you're interested in. Have you attended GSA 101 info session yet? And have you applied to GSA before? Just let us know in the poll. All right, so we got 100 of you, 100% have answered. So I'm going to end the poll now. So we've got mostly high school students in the 10th or 11th grade. We've got parent and guardian. Well, welcome. We're excited to have you. We've got people who are interested in creative writing, drama, film and photography, musical theater, excellent, and vocal music. I thought I recognized that one name, Caroline. Welcome back. And then have you attended a GSA 101 info session yet? We've got 38% said yes, 63% said no. That's okay. We'd love for you to attend one. And if you don't have the time, we also have the recordings available on our YouTube. And then have you applied to GSA before? We've got 88% said no, 1% said yes. Awesome. Well, we're so glad to have you. This is excellent. All right. Let me move on to the next slide. And just remember, these info sessions are not the only way to get information about GSA application process. We also have a helpline that's available for you. Our helpline number is at the top of the screen, but I will also read it off. It is 502-566-5192. Me or one of my coworkers would be happy to answer that and answer any of your questions. You can also send us an email at gsainfo@kentuckyperformingarts.org with Kentucky spelled out. And we are all here to help you. We're not scary adults. We're not here to judge. We're so excited for you to apply. We're here to answer any and all questions that you may have, because we know this is a really exhaustive process, and we're here to support you within this. And then we also have a Facebook and Instagram, which you can follow and see kind of videos and clips and photos from the summer and things that are going on currently. So we'd love for you to give us a follow at all those handles that you see on the screen. But yes, so let me move on from there. So we're going to review some quick highlights from the summer program. Our summer program is 3 weeks long. We do have 2 separate sessions for 3 weeks. So for example, our dates, which we'll see at a later date, we have one section that's in June and one section that's mostly in July. And then we have this program is for high school aged artists, so typically 15 to 16 to 17-year-olds. Students attend GSA for one of 9 art forms. The program is completely tuition free. We are hosted on University of Kentucky's campus for the summer, and we're there. We live in the dorms. We are within the classroom spaces, we're in the performance spaces. They are wonderful hosting campus, and we're so thankful to be there. Students are immersed in an intense, challenging, and exhilarating learning environment in one of 9 art forms. While each student focuses on one art that they're there for, we do a lot of interdisciplinary collaboration is a major component of our program. So for example, drama will collaborate a lot of times with instrumental music and film and photography and all the things like that. So it's a really, really great time. So I will say this is a really rigorous and intense program, but it is a lot of fun. We have a great time. Everyone who goes through it really wants to come back, even though you can't. But they'll come back in other ways, either as summer staff or faculty or admin, as some of us. But we, really love GSA, even though it's such an intense program. It's just been great. And if you haven't heard, we've recently doubled in size. This past summer, we accepted 512 students. That'll be about the same numbers that we'll accept this year. So that's very exciting. We were excited to have the supplemental funding provided by the Kentucky Department of Education. So this allowed us to grow in size, which is fantastic. Some key things to remember. So you must be a sophomore or junior to apply. It's okay if you're under the age of 16. One thing that we've come across is that with Accepted, which is our application program, you have to create a parent or guardian account, and then the student can create their own account once it's connected to the guardian parent, even teacher, excuse me. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to drop that in the Q&A, but that's something we've come across recently. Your GPA, ACT, and SAT scores are not required. We don't ask that of you. We just want to know you as an artist, and we get a wide range of student levels from that. Students can apply up to 2 art forms. So, those students who are interested in creative writing, vocal music, musical theater, you can apply for both of those. There is an extra slight cost. So, for example, whenever you apply to one art form, it's a $30 fee. But if you apply to 2 art forms, it is a $35 fee, unless you, qualify for waived or free reduced lunch, and then you don't have to worry about it. All right. So while we are thrilled to speak with you about GSA's drama art form today, and we're confident today's session will be helpful, remember today's virtual information will not be 100% comprehensive, and there will be some other very important resources for you to utilize to learn more about the program and the application, all of which are available on our website, www.kentuckygsa.org, with Kentucky spelled out. Please be sure to read the applicant guide and the art form of your interest. There is a lot of information on it, we realize, but it's so important. It is what I said yesterday is your golden key to submitting the correct materials for your application. We also highly encourage you to start preparing and uploading materials nice and early. For example, our first part of our application, part 1, all you have to do is fill out your name, your phone number, your email address, and your recommender's email. And that's it. That's all you have to do. And then you're done. And you move on to application part 2. So it's super exciting. So we definitely, especially because, actually, before I get ahead of myself, I knew the deadline is something I wanted to talk about. So January 8th is our deadline. Because that is a Sunday, the offices will be closed that weekend. So definitely want to get your application in by January 6th, if at all possible. We also highly suggest getting it, putting in your application the week before, because there can be a lag submitting your application. So you definitely want to get that in early. Earlier is always better, and then you don't have to stress about it. We will announce the finalist for February 17th. And then the final round auditions / reviews, depending on which art form you're auditioning for, will take place on March 17th and 18th. We'll do both in-person auditions, and that'll be also at University of Kentucky's campus, and we'll do them virtually as well, depending on which art form you're in. Trying to think anything else I wanted to add. We will announce the GSA class of 2023 as well as alternates placed on the wait list on April 14th. And then you can see the dates there for our 2023 session, June 11th through July 1st and July 9th through July 29th. These dates are also on our websites if you ever need to reference them. You can specify which session you'd like to be in, especially if you're auditioning for drama. Because it occurs both sessions, not every art form does. But we cannot guarantee that you will be a part of the session that you requested, but we try to honor that as much as possible. So, all right, make sure I didn't forget anything else. I think that is it. All right, let me end my slideshow. All right, y'all. So now we're going to go over the applicant guide. Let me pull it up real quick. All right, let me scroll back up. All right, y'all. So the 2023 drama applicant guide, the good stuff, the golden key, as we like to say. Ellie, would you like to go over the program description?
Sure. I will say again.
Oh, just kind of talk about what it's like for a drama student during the summer.
Sure. So none of this language is supposed to appear intimidating. And if it does to you for any reason, It's all layman terms, really. So our drama program is based in Stanislavski-based acting techniques, and that really just means the group theater, like Uta Hagen, Meisner, all of the things you hear in acting terminology is really based in, most of it is based in Stanislavski. So anything you're hearing from drama teachers are things you will hear at Governor's School for the Arts. So we focus predominantly on acting, movement, and voice. And a typical day is 10 hours, starting at 10 a.m. and going till 10 p.m. with a dinner break and a lunch break. And throughout the day, you will be rotating between all three forms. You'll be working with an acting teacher for an hour and a half, and then you'll go to movement. And then after lunch, you'll go to voice potentially and rotate with acting. And then in the evening, you might rotate between acting or voice and movement. But every day you will see probably all three of us teachers for at least one of those morning, afternoon, or evening sessions. Anything else I'm missing? Is that enough information?
Yeah, I think that's a good overview. Only thing else I would probably add is that if you've said this already, I apologize. Field trips. I know that you guys take field trips.
Oh, sure. Yes. So we will be throughout the 3 weeks, we will bring in guest artists who specialize in clowning, stage combat, lots of stuff, film and TV. It just depends on the year and guest artists who are available. But the three full-time teachers bring in guests throughout the summer. We go on field trips. A lot of times we'll go to Kentucky Shakespeare Festival. And we will have guests coming in for interdisciplinary collaborations. And we'll be collaborating, like Jessica said, with other art forms, doing projects with them. And we almost always collaborate with instrumental music. Oftentimes collaborate with film and photography, sometimes dance, just depending on the year. And because some of those folks aren't in both sessions, it depends on which session you're in, who we'll be collaborating with.
That's perfect. Great. Love that. And it is such a great time. It changed my life. And I know Ellie did too.
Changed my life.
Yeah. So it's just a great time. And I will point out a couple different important links within this application. Applicant guide, excuse me. You can click here to view drama program photos from 2022, some great examples of kind of those interactions with guest artists and just seeing the students throughout their day-to-day. And then we also have a how-to guide for taping auditions that Ellie created. So thank you so much, Ellie. It's going to help so many of our students. We're so excited.
For visual learners.
Yes, visual learners. And I am one of those.
Me too.
So, all right, let's move into what the preliminary round kind of requires. So many things that we require. One of them is the 2 recommendation forms. So we had a great question just a minute ago asking whenever you submit those recommender emails, does that send the form to them immediately? If you put in the correct email, it will go to them immediately. So be sure to double check, triple check those emails that you put in for your recommenders. We also highly suggest that you ask them before you put in their email, so they know to be expecting that email from GSA. So it should come from 2 different people, of course, and we'll talk a little bit about who we suggest as recommenders, because that's changed a little bit this year. Recommenders can be teachers from inside or outside your school in any subject, from your school administrators, mentors, or it can also be people involved in your personal artistic development, such as coach, a youth minister, a staff, or an organization where you volunteer. So typically in the past, we asked mostly for teachers, but we really want to expand that for those students who feel like that those people may not be able to speak to their artistry as much in case like you work and do art outside of school. So we definitely want to encourage you to find those folks who can speak to your artistry as much as possible.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah, absolutely.
As somebody who gets requests a lot to write letters of recommendation, those require a specific amount of time to write a letter from scratch. So when you're asking folks to do a recommendation for you for GSA, it's really good to tell them that there's a space where they can write further information about you as a student, but they're not writing a letter from scratch. They're actually answering questions that we specifically like answers to, like, how does this person collaborate with others? Rate them 1 to 5. And those forms are a little bit easier and quicker to fill out. So you can definitely let the teacher know that it's not writing a letter from scratch, that it is answering questions for us. And that is much quicker for them and easier for them.
That's great. Thank you, Ellie, for saying that, because that's how I feel too. I'm like, oh, it's great. It's a form. I don't have to
that's right.
by myself. That's great. Yes, so definitely all that fun stuff. So you want to submit your recommenders information as soon as possible so they have plenty of time to complete the forms prior to January 8th. So just want to make note of that. So again, those 2 recommendation forms, you want to submit your personal short essay, personal question video. Both of those are the same kind of questions for every art form. So if you are applying to multiple art forms, you can use the same question. That's totally fine. But we do have art form specific questions, which we'll go over. And then of course your monologue video, because you're auditioning for drama, and then your optional special skills video, which is a lot of fun. I'm sure Ellie will have lots of information for us about those things. So we're going to head over I guess, Ellie, what are you, I would like to touch on, what are you looking for within those recommendation forms?
So for me, it really is built into the questions, but the most important thing for me is the question when we ask the teachers, does this student collaborate well with their classmates? Is this student supportive of other students? And does the student respond well to constructive feedback? These are some of the most vital things that we're looking for in spending 3 weeks, 10 hours a day with folks. You have to be able to collaborate. It is essential to what we're doing. And if you don't work well with other students, or a teacher tells us that this is maybe not a quality that you possess, it is challenging for us. No matter how good a monologue you do, acting is not, monologues don't necessarily represent what we do in theater, which is collaborate with other people. And it's all about relationships and hearing people's voices, being a yes and person. And I think a lot of those questions are geared towards that. So yeah, I think we're looking for, another thing we're looking for in one of those questions is this a person who shows up? And if we're seeing people with excessive absences from classes, that's really hard for GSA, because in those 3 weeks, 10 hours a day, we're creating a final showcase, which is really intense, to teach you everything we want to teach you and put something together to show the public. So if you're someone who misses a lot of class or calls out sick a lot, it's really challenging in that really short 3-week window to do everything we need to do with folks who are missing a lot of classes. So those are the questions we're asking, and that are really important for us to see answers to.
That's great. Thank you so much, Ellie.
Yeah.
So moving on to the short essay, the questions that we ask, or the question that we ask, excuse me, is how can/why should the art form you're applying in, be of importance to your community or society as a whole? And again, we always just want to hear your voice throughout this essay. You know, we really want to get to know you as an artist, as a Kentuckian. You know, why is this art form so important to you? Do you have any what's the question I'm asking for? Anything that you would like to see through that, Ellie?
Yes. A big generalization that we see in these questions is I like to make people feel things. And that's a pretty general response to why art is so important. So if this question is challenging for you, I struggle with big idea questions like this. but being really specific is more universal than being general. So why do you like to make people feel things? What is theater? It's storytelling, right? Why do you think stories are important? Why is it important to tell people stories? When you're making an audience feel things, what is that doing? It's creating empathy, right? So getting specific with why making people feel things is important, and how specific can you be? Students who have gotten really specific with why storytelling is universal and why it's existed since the beginning of time, are some people who are getting more specific about why theater is important. Feeling things, a lot of things make us feel things, right? Music. Yeah. So why is theater specifically important? So I think the more specific you can get, it is going to capture our attention, because we are reading a lot of essays. So making it really personal, like Jessica said, and getting specific about why is really great.
Love that. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
For that. And then we'll move on to our personal question video. Why is the art form you're applying in important to you? What are your goals for yourself as an artist in this art form? Anything specific from that, Ellie, that you'd like to see?
I'm 43 and I've been doing this all my life, and I would look at that question and be like, oh, geez. So I think not looking at it as overwhelming. I think being willing to learn and being interested in learning and collaborating in new spaces. I think all of these are valid answers. You don't have to be a philosopher in answering this question. I think being honest is the most important way you can answer this question, and saying, I've studied acting, but I don't know a particular methodology, or I've never had actual voice training. I think a lot of folks think we're looking for the most experienced person, and we're actually not. We're looking for the person who wants to learn. So if you're saying, I don't know, I'm going to GSA because I've never had the opportunity to really study movements, is totally valid. Or, I've never learned a specific methodology in acting. I think saying that I've never had introductions to these things are truthful, and it's exciting to think we're giving somebody an opportunity for the first time. So don't be scared to tell the truth.
I love that. And as somebody who, from Western Kentucky, that did not have a lot of opportunities in drama besides my community theater. I didn't know anything about Stanislavski until I went, and a lot of the movement work that we did in drama, I didn't know about that until I went to GSA. So it was such a great learning experience, and was a newbie. Thought I was experienced, was actually a newbie, and it broadened my horizons to amazing heights. Great. And these are some really great, just kind of statements about, how to record the video. Say your name first and last, shoot straight on, have the camera on one location, definitely not a lot of background. I know, like, my background, for example, is very distracting. Probably something a little bit better than Ellie's, or more like Ellie's, compared to mine. And then, label the right things. And
just remember that all of that information is in the video that you can click on and watch, like literally me in a space showing you where to shoot, how to shoot. So if you want to see an example of what we're asking for, that is in that video.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. And then we do have art form specific questions. Let me pull up the applicant guide real quick. I can read them off for you. There we go. So some of the art form specific questions that they ask, when's your first introduction to theater? Excuse me. Have you had the opportunity to be involved in theater, and what was your involvement? And does your school have a drama program or drama classes, or have you taken theater classes at a community theater, house of worship, or worked with a private acting teacher? So those are the questions in the application. Excuse me. Do you have any thoughts or comments about those, Ellie, or anything else you'd like to add?
No, again, honesty is best. The most experienced student isn't always the best student. We had a young woman this past summer who had never seen a play before. And she was one of our most exceptional artists because she was so open to learning and so hungry, right? And she was super talented. She just had less training. So saying, I haven't seen a play or I haven't had access to theater, which, those are just as valid of an answer as I was, me going into GSA. I had been doing theater since I was 2 years old, and it doesn't, the truth is we're just looking to get to know you, not looking for a right answer. So being honest, I think is key to answering these questions. So we really have a holistic sense of getting a good variety of artists in the space.
Fantastic. And then Ellie, I'm going to have you touch on the monologue portion.
Sure. Yeah. So I would say most folks have probably done a monologue before. I've seen a variety of things. I've seen people sitting on the floor up against their bed. I've seen folks up on a stage with the camera really far away. Most important thing is that we can see you. So I would say up on a stage really far away is challenging. But in a monologue, you're always speaking to another character, right? Please know that we are probably watching your monologue that you've chosen be done by 20 different students. Good monologues are hard to come by. And it takes an avid reader. So your point of view and your specific choices are the most exciting thing for us to see. I could watch the same monologue done by 20 people and be fascinated by it if people are making really personal choices, right? Why do you love this monologue? Why is this a monologue that you want to show us? I love to see folks do Shakespeare, right? People who are passionate about Shakespeare or folks who are passionate about comedy, but it should be from a play. Yeah, and you should have read the entire play. It's pretty clear when folks are pulling monologues from the internet that don't have a deeper background of story and what the story is about and what the character needs in that specific moment. So when we say active, it should be active. That means we shouldn't be telling a story like when I was 9 years old, my mother told me, right? Because you're reflecting in the past instead of actively saying, Jessica, I need you to do this for me right now. Please call my mom. Yeah, this is very active. I can actively try to get Jessica to do something. That's what we're talking about when we say keep it active. You're in the middle of pursuing something. Should be memorized. You shouldn't rely on props and costumes. It's okay to have an essence of, something. It doesn't matter. If you're doing a Shakespeare, maybe don't wear a crop top, or maybe do, if that's who you are. I don't know. I would say keeping it age appropriate is important. I think it would be challenging to watch someone who's 15 to 18 play a mother. But if the monologue's meaningful to you, break the rules sometimes. I don't know. Please know that we know your talent within the first 10 to 15 seconds of the monologue. If you're engaged, if you're actively trying to do what the character is trying to do, we don't need more than 60 to 90 seconds. I think folks are like, oh, maybe if I just do this 2-minute monologue, they'll see more. We know so quickly. So don't feel like you need to do anything longer than the 60 to 90 seconds. I am totally fine if anybody, any gender, any gender identity can go after Hamlet, in my opinion. I'm thrilled to watch anybody. If it's a monologue you're passionate about, I'm going to watch it. So any character you want to portray, I'm thrilled to watch you do it. So keep that in mind as you're looking for monologues. And monologues, you have to read a lot of plays to find them. So do your research and find something that's meaningful to you. Those are the best monologues.
That's great advice. Thanks, Ellie.
Yeah.
Somebody who's done a lot of searching for monologues. Some other great information about monologues. Do you want to go over this a little bit?
I'm thrilled to.
Great.
Please know that we're telling you the best case scenario for a video. And please know, if you can't fulfill all of these things, it does not count against you. If you are in a room with a ton of stuff, but you're doing your work well, we don't care. We want to see you. So we say record your monologue in interior space free from interruptions. If you have to lock yourself in a bathroom and I can hear your brothers and sisters watching TV, is it ideal? No, but is it worth it so we can see you and you have the opportunity to go to GSA? Yes. So whatever you can make work, don't put too much pressure on. Don't not send in a video because it's not following every single one of these rules. Okay. Send in the video. Shooting at eye level is super important. Don't speak directly to the camera. I do not want the camera on your computer or phone to be the other character. I want the other character to be out here so you can daydream what they look like. You can daydream how they're responding to you. Yeah, the camera is a fly on the wall and you're in a moment with someone else. So please give yourself the opportunity to not have to stare at a camera. Don't edit your video. Yeah, you can say, my name is Ellie Clark. I'll be performing Hamlet from Shakespeare's Hamlet. And then I can give myself a minute, look and find my other character and start my monologue. I don't need you to edit together videos. Take your time. We are watching how you take your moment before, see that other person, and then start your monologue. We don't need a head down to up. We don't need a scene, we will know, and we love to watch your work and we love to watch your process. And then the most important thing is that we can see and hear you and we can see your body move. We are looking for you to be articulate. It's very different, this world we're living in. We are adjudicating you on your voice because we need to understand you. But it's not like theater. If we were in a theater and we were looking for projection, we're not looking for projection on video. Yeah, but we can tell vocal quality by articulation, being articulate, knowing your words well, taking your time with language. All of these things are important. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. And again, go back to that video we made and just see, like, I want to be able to see your face. I'm in front of a window right now, so I'm visible, right? I don't need fancy lighting. I don't need a ring light. If you have it, great. If not, do the best you can. That's all we ask.
Great. And then we have our optional. So you don't have to submit this, but it's fun if you want to, a special skills video. You can perform a dialect, singing, dancing, telling a joke, roller skating, or whatever else you'd like to share. What's some of your, have we done this before? Is this new this year?
Oh no, we do this.
Okay. What's some of your favorite videos that you've seen before?
So don't worry about being clever. If I don't see a special skills video, it doesn't even cross my mind. Like, I'm like, okay, we don't have a special skills video, but we have seen people hosting talk shows. We have seen people hosting cooking. We have, I've seen some of the most amazing, I've seen people doing like back handsprings and twisting their bodies that are super short, not even 60 seconds. I've seen people like tap dancing. So all of it's fun. But don't feel the pressure to be clever and like, oh my gosh, I don't have any special skills. That doesn't matter. Being clever and playful and funny. I've seen somebody skateboarding. So it's fun to watch and see hobbies that people do, but it's not necessary.
It's just I think of it as an opportunity to just showcase fun parts of your personality,
Totally.
that is beyond, performance and stuff like that. So
totally. I've seen people doing their bendy stuff with their family in the room, just with a video in the corner. Like it's so funny to watch people. It's fun.
Awesome. So the next part of the applicant guide talks about the final round requirements. We will not go over those today. So if you make it to the final round, this is where this information is located. So keep this at hand for the final round. All right. Criteria. Would you like to, if you would like to talk about this, Ellie, that'd be great.
Sure. So we are adjudicating you on acting, voice, and movement. So an ideal applicant in acting has a strong connection to the material, which we've already talked about. Inspired character choices. I think all of us are like, oh, I need to make a big choice. No, it doesn't matter if it's big or small, as long as it represents the character. A good choice, an inspired choice, is something that has captured the essence of the character you're playing. I think the skill of moment to moment is really important. You can see when an actor gets ahead of themselves. Yeah. Or you can see when an actor is critiquing themselves as they go. Just be in the moment, go moment to moment. That's the best you can do. In character thinking. What's the arc of the monologue? How is the character changed from the beginning of the monologue to the end? No matter how short, there's always a shift. Don't worry about showing us the shift as much as knowing the shift for yourself, as small as that may be. Know the shift for yourself. And if you know that shift inherently, it'll reveal itself inside the work. Don't get too in your head about all that. If this is all new to you, loving the monologue you're doing and being passionate about it and having a good point of view on it is great. Vocally, breath support, not running out of breath, not pinching your breath because you're getting to the end of the sentence and you don't have any breath left. Making sure you know the monologue well enough that you know when to take a breath for yourself. Speaking clearly and with intention. A lot of times, because we're holding a camera in front of us, we think we're doing film and TV acting. So we get really intimate with our voice. And that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for intentional speaking, pursuit of something from that other character. So making sure we know you have good vocal presentation is great for this. I think pacing, like being able to move through your monologue with intention and with breath support and being clear in articulation is super important. Movement. We are not looking for you to choreograph this is not dance. Although I love dance and I was a dancer, and I think that's why I lean towards movement. Movement is really looking for expression of the body, freedom. A lot of times we keep our hands below the screen, and we want to see more of your body, right? We want to see you from your waist up. It doesn't need to be in close up because it's on TV, because you're recording it. So showing us some of your body and moving and having freedom within this frame that you're performing in is great. Using your hands to express, moving, taking a step in, taking a step back, having enough space in the video to do so is great. Now, if you're in a tiny room, and you only have this room to perform in, do the best you can. That's all we're asking. But freedom of expression with your body is what I'm looking for when it comes to movement.
Awesome. And I think of course, the ensemble attitude's more for the final round, but something to definitely keep in mind as you apply. And then, of course, a dedication to art form growth community is kind of what we address in the video, the common questions video and the essay portion. So we won't touch base on those, but you can dig into it with your own application guide. And Ellie, what are the probably like 3 bigger picture tips that you have for applicants?
I would say getting to know you in the monologue, really seeing you is super important. And I think that's tricky for some people when you're like, I'm playing a character. Yes, but you are playing the character. Ellie's playing the character. Jessica's playing the character. We bring uniquely different things to everything. So bringing and highlighting for yourself what is so valuable to you about the monologue. I would also say rushing. A lot of folks are like, I'm going to get in this whole monologue in 60 seconds. We don't want to see that. I want to see you take a moment before and make the decision to start, right? And when you're done, I don't want you to say, and that's why we're here, and click the button off, right? Take your moment after. Let us see your thought process for 3, 4, 5 seconds at the end. I think watching somebody let themselves come down from the monologue slowly shows really important skills, that you have the patience and take your time with your work. Those 2 to me are the 2 most important things. Show yourself, take your time.
I definitely, we get a lot of questions, and I will say some panic questions. People are like, oh, my monologue's over 90 seconds, but it's like 93 seconds. I'm like, that's okay. Like, you're going to be fine.
We are not like, oh, 93 seconds, we're not watching. Now, if at 90 seconds, we're like, we don't need to see the last 3 seconds, this person's phenomenal, or whatever we're seeing. Yes. Now I have had folks send in 3 and 5 minute monologues, and I'm not watching those. Yeah. I'm watching 90 seconds of those and making my decision in those 90 seconds. So yeah, you are not going to be disqualified for having a 100-second video.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
Trying to think anything else. We have a lot of great tips within this applicant guide that Ellie put in about finding monologues. I highly suggest to deep dive into this. Again, go see shows, read as much as you can. There's a lot of great information on this applicant guide on finding a monologue. If you haven't chosen one yet, we won't go over that. It's pretty well, I think, written out in there. And then, of course, at the end of the application guide, we have all the deadlines listed as well. And then, of course, our hours, info box, email, and helpline number. All right. So give me just one moment. Ooh, get resituated. All right. So I guess I want to ask Ellie one last question before we jump into the Q&A. Ellie, what's your advice to someone who is on the fence about applying for GSA? Apply.
It's a really good opportunity if you're an artist to know GSA is a really good place to come and see, like, is this something I want to commit to in college? Is this something I really want to consider? It is an opportunity to be in a conservatory style program and see what it feels like to pursue this all day, every day. And if you're like, I had students this summer who were like, no, I'm going to be a scientist. And I'm like, geez, because some of our most incredible students are like, oh, no, I'm not going to pursue this in college. But they're phenomenal artists. And I will tell you that their training that they get at Governor School for the Arts is going to make them better scientists. It's going to make them better teachers. It's going to make them better mathematicians, politicians. You're learning life skills. You're learning collaboration skills. So just because you're not going to pursue acting for the rest of your life doesn't mean you're not going to learn incredibly valuable lessons at Governor School for the Arts. And you're going to meet incredible people. Remember, there's hundreds of students in different art forms, and you're going to meet them. You're going to meet a lot of people outside your art form. I am still friends with people I was at Governor School for the Arts with 30 years ago. Was it 30 years ago? Maybe not quite, but 25 years ago. I'm still in contact with them. So you're going to make relationships that will last the rest of your life. So I don't know why anybody wouldn't apply. It's the most amazing program. I would say a lot of our teachers are alumni of the program because the program was that meaningful to us. So if you're on the fence, or if you're a perfectionist and you're like, I don't know if I can get everything done perfectly, it doesn't have to be done perfectly. It can be done imperfectly and be the best thing we've ever seen, right? We might learn something from you because of a way that you've made this work for yourself. So I would say give it a shot. And worst comes to worst, you've done the application and you've put yourself through the rigor of applying, and then you have to say no to the program. But I guarantee you that it will be one of the best experiences of your life.
That's excellent. Thank you so much for saying all those amazing things, Ellie. We appreciate it. All right, y'all. So we've got some time for Q&A. If you guys want to put your questions in the chat, we'll answer them live.
Ask us anything.
So we have another question. How do I go about answering the personal essay question? And then we also had a question about answering the art form specific questions. Those are going to be, you're going to type those out. So those, and the essay question is going to be an upload. So we'll be able to do that within the application. So definitely, once you submit that part 1 of the application, you're going to move on to application part 2, and you'll see the upload for the essay. You'll see those art form specific questions you can answer. So yeah, great question.
And just remember in those, if you've answered the question, stop there. I feel like a lot of people try to fill time by elaborating. If you've answered the question and you've said what you wanted to say, that's what we're looking for.
That's great. So we have another question. Will the adjudicators be looking for prior experience in plays productions as a determining factor in the application?
Nope. Absolutely not. We've had folks who have never been in a play before, and I just cannot say enough that experience does not make a better artist. It just doesn't. I have kids who have been doing this all their life and has been in every training program and done extracurricular stuff who are fantastic, but they're not the best artist in the room. It doesn't matter. You can be an incredible artist and not have any prior experience. So please don't let that deter you from applying to this program. We're looking for people who are hungry to learn, not for folks who have learned from other people for the past 10 years. Yeah. Some of those more curious folks who haven't had opportunities bring a lot more energy to the program because this is their first time having the opportunity to learn and they're like all in. So do not let that deter you. That is not what we're looking for.
Great, awesome. And then another question, is there a specific requirement for the monologue, like a certain time period it has to be in?
No, it can be contemporary, it can be classic, whatever excites you. We see Shakespeare monologues, we see, very contemporary pieces and anything in between. So please choose something that excites you.
Great.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Any other, well, while we're waiting on questions, Ellie, if you have any other thoughts or comments, I'm trying to think of any other experiences that I had within the drama program. Again, you're going to meet students from all across the state within this program, and it just really, we were talking about, the connections that you make. That also had a huge impact on me, just meeting such a wide range of people from all across the state. Another question popped up as I rambled on. Could we do a monologue that we have done in the past?
Yes, please. Do something well. I've been doing the same monologues for years. And like, after 3 years of doing it, I'm like, oh, that's what this monologue is about, right? We can continue to learn from repeating the same material. Doing a monologue once and never using it again means you probably haven't done that monologue well yet. Yeah. Working on material that you know and that you're comfortable with and that you really feels like showcases you, that's ideal. Use a monologue, do that.
Excellent. That is excellent advice. I also agree with that. I'm like, actually that monologue makes so much more sense now where I am in my life.
I know.
Fantastic. So, all right. Any other questions, concerns, thoughts? We'll give it a couple, 10 more seconds in case anybody's typing furiously. I know how that goes.
And if you think of questions, we gave the email at the beginning. You have the phone number. If you think of questions, don't be afraid to call. We love folks who are curious and we love questions. Don't think asking questions makes you look inexperienced. It actually makes you look proactive, which is exactly what we're looking for.
Exactly. That is great. Yeah, and definitely. And if we can't answer any questions in the office, we will contact our adjudicators and be like, what do you think about this kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay, another question popped up. What if the monologue is a character who's not in the recommended age range?
Can that person get more specific with what age range that character is in?
I will await an answer. Another person can type that. And then another great question: how do I develop my monologue in the best possible way?
Okay, good. So here's a few questions to ask yourself. Who am I talking to? Really know who you're talking to and know what you want from that person. And what I mean is plays are about extraordinary circumstances, not ordinary. So the character always wants something. So if I'm talking to my teacher, I might want them to pass me in a class, or I might want them to give me extra credit. Maybe I'm trying to persuade them or convince them or instigate with them. We're always after something, even in relationships. Maybe we're flirting with somebody. Yeah. Maybe we're trying to build somebody up to feel their best, but we're always actively in pursuit of making the other person do something. So what do we want from that person? Who am I talking to? What do I want from them? Yeah. And then am I getting what I want? These are all things to measure in your monologue, but I'm talking to Jessica and I really want to convince her that we should do this really devious thing that she's scared to do. And I'm like, come on. Yeah, it's like a kid and trying to get the cookie. Like, well, dad said I could have the cookie. Please give me the cookie. Am I pleading? Am I blaming? So there's all sorts of things you can be doing in your monologue. So ask who you're talking to. What do you want from that other character? And if you can answer those two questions, I would say start to memorize your monologue, know it like the back of your hand, and then really pursue trying to get what you want from that person. That's what we're looking for in monologues. It's fun. There could be a million different ways to get what you want and bring you what's uniquely you.
Awesome. Great question. I love that. Love the answer. So the answer to the character age is 50 from the monologue that this student has chosen.
If you're really passionate about it, I'm not going to count it against you. And if you know who you're talking to and what you want and are really in pursuit of going after what you want, and you do that well, I'm not going to be like, yeah, but you're not 50. So, you can't act that. But I would say just use your best judgment. And if that's something you feel really passionate about portraying, great. What I don't want to see is people playing old. Like, I don't want to see what you think 50 looks like, because it's probably not correct. So as long as it feels close to you and who you are and the kind of person you are, I'm willing to watch it. If you're like, oh, I'm going to age myself, I'm not interested in seeing that. I hope that answers the question.
That was really good.
Okay.
That can tend to be a common thing that happens in a lot of monologues.
Yeah.
All right. Well, y'all, we've got about a minute left. I'm not seeing any more questions, so we'll go ahead and wrap things up. Again, Ellie, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for answering all of these lovely questions. Thank you all so much for being here. We're so excited to see you guys apply. Again, reach out to us at that GSA info at email address and that helpline. If you have any additional questions, we'd be more than happy to answer them. But yeah, we're so excited to see you apply. So thanks, everyone. We'll see you later.
Can't wait. Thank you.
Bye.